Hi everyone. In this video I'm going to take you through the fundamentals of revision control in Unreal. I'll set up a new project using Subversion, walk through a practical example of two developers working on the same project, and take a quick look at Unreal's diff and history tools. If you want a solid foundation for working collaboratively in Unreal, or just want an easier way to track changes while working solo, this video will get you on the right track. Let's get started. Source control allows us to have a central repository of the current version with all of the previous versions stored as well, so that we can go back to them if we need to. There are several different source control tools on the market. For normal game development, for the sake of making assets, textures, and models, you're going to want to use something that processes binary files well. Plastic, Perforce, and SVN are some of the better ones for dealing with binary files, and they're integrated into Unreal already, which is really helpful. So the repository is a centralized location either on a server or on your local machine that keeps a log of all of the different versions of all the different files. When you work on your SVN project, you'll make a local working copy, which is the one you modify and edit, and then once you're happy with it, you will then commit those changes back to the original central copy, so that you can have a whole team working on the same project without interfering with each other. Typical workflow for SVN then would be to check out the repository, make the changes, do the work you want to do on them, then check for any updates, eventually resolve any conflicts, so look for any files that have got changes on the server and the same files that you've changed as well, and then commit the finalized corrected version back up to the server. The tools that we need to install locally on your machine to make SVN work is a little thing called Tortoise, and it's freely downloadable if you just type that into your favorite search engine. Now we're going to jump into setting up your first Unreal repository and the basic getting started steps. In this section of the video, I will demonstrate how to set up SVN for a new Unreal project. I've found this is the tidiest way to set up your repo without a lot of duplicate folders. So I'm going to go to a nice low down directory on my drive. I'm using my secondary drive here with a folder called SVN repos. I like to separate out my SVN repos from my other files just so that I know I don't need to back up everything in here because all of this is on the server already, so there shouldn't be a need to have another copy. We right click, I'm going to go down to Tortoise SVN and we're going to press checkout. Hopefully our system administrator has been nice to us and they've given us a path to the repository. If you're setting this up yourself, you'll need to get the location of the server that you're running it on, as well as the name of the repository. So the server name is on the left and the repository is on the right. I'm just going to call this the same as the URL for the repository here, so SVN demo. For a username and password, and it should say checkout finished and at revision 0. And you should have an empty folder. So SVN's checked this folder out and it's ready to go. Now what we need to do is we need to get our Unreal project into here. Now the slight challenge is that when you go into Unreal, you can't create the project without creating this directory at the top. So what I like to do is I set up a staging folder for the initial commit, and I'm going to give my project a name, SVN demo. I'm just using the third person blueprint here, nothing fancy. Press create. Give it a moment to create the project. Unreal will open. Then what we're going to do is we are going to grab the contents of the project and move it into our repository and check it in. We're going to close it. I'm going to put my staging on the left and the SVN on the right. So we go inside both folders and I'm going to move all of these elements across. So I've emptied my folder in the staging, it's now an empty folder. I've just moved all the things in here. Now, anyone who's done a bit of Unreal before will know that some of these directories we don't want to commit to source control because they will bloat your files and they're not necessarily relevant to be stored from machine to machine. So we're going to select Derived Data Cache, Intermediate and Saved. Right click on them collectively. Go to Tortoise SVN. And we're going to say add to the ignore list. And we want to say add to the ignore list by name. That will make sure that these 3 folders will never get committed to our SVN. Once we've got all that set up, we go up 1 level, right click on the demo project, go to SVN, and we're going to press commit. It's going to find all of these files that are not versioned at the moment, and we're going to press all. Then we're going to call it initial commit. Press OK. It's now adding all of those files to our repository ready to go. So this can take a few minutes for the first time round, but after this we'll be only storing changes, so it'll be much quicker. So there we go. Our initial complete is complete, and we're now at revision 1. At this point, we need to prove that this is working before we do anything else. So I'm going to go up a level. I'm going to delete my SVN demo, so the folder is empty. Usually this would be a tragedy, but because we've got source control, we can just right click, go check out. The nice thing about SVN is it remembers the last repository. So I'm going to go back to there and go SVN demo. It's going to have remembered my credentials, which is great. Press OK. Let it download the repository back from the server. Press OK. Go inside. You'll notice we've got those 3 folders. Now we can open up Unreal. Double click. And you'll see it creates the intermediate and saved files immediately. So now that we're in Unreal, we're going to go down to the bottom right here and press revision control. We're going to go to connect and select Subversion from the drop-down list. You're going to paste in your repository information. And put in your username. Just a reminder that Unreal does not like it if you don't set up a username and password. It will error. So make sure you have a username and password on your repository, even if you're working on your own. We press accept. And you'll notice a little green tick here to say that we are now connected to SVN. So that's the initial setup. You've got Unreal now connected to source control, and you're ready to start doing some experimenting. So I'm going to start out by making a new asset. So material, creating a simple material with a color on it, just so I can spot it nice and easily. Now, when we press save, you'll notice that when we come back to the content browser, there's a little plus symbol there that wasn't there before. That tells us that the revision control has detected a new file that needs to be checked in to the server. So the easiest way to understand this is like posting a piece of mail. We might have written the letter, but we haven't posted it to the repository yet. So that's what we're going to do now. There's 2 places to do this. You can either right-click on the asset itself and go revision control and go check in, or you can go to revision control and go to submit content. It will, in submit content, it will give you a list of all the assets you've added that weren't there before, and also any that are being taken off. So if they're taken off, it'll be a red X. So I'm going to say created new cube material. It's always good practice to give a nice clear list of changes in your change list description. Then we press submit. So the most reliable way to synchronize your latest version is to close down Unreal, go to the demo, the folder where your Unreal project is, and then you can just go up 1 level, right click on it, run more commands, and press SVN update. It should now indicate the same revision number we had on the other screen. As you can see, the material has pulled down from the server. Now, if we want to go and modify that material, the first thing we should do is we should right-click on it, go to revision control, and go check out. This is going to lock the file to stop anyone else from modifying it while we're working on it. So let's press check out, and then we're going to flick back to the other screen and see what happens. You'll notice on this file I get a green tick that says locked for editing by current user. If I go back to my original machine now, and I right-click on the file and go refresh, you should notice that I now have a little padlock So it's always good practice to refresh the file before you check it out. So we've got the little padlock there. It says locked for editing by my other user. So what does locked for editing mean? Well, it means I can still come inside it and try to do things. But if I try to save, it's going to show me that this asset is checked out and you can't modify it. So going back to my original machine, let's make a chain. I'm going to change this shader now with a slightly different color. Let's save. And now we've done that, we can then go to submit content. And it's going to note that this material has been updated. And we can say changed color. You can press submit. If you're going to make more changes, and this was just the first step, you can keep the file checked out. But as I'm not going to, I'm just going to keep that unticked. So let's send that off to source control. We're now at version 5. Right click and press refresh. I should now see a little download symbol to show me that there is a new version available. And now I can right click and press sync. That's going to pull down the latest version of the material now. And again, it's unlocked. You can see the little padlock's gone. So now I can make my own modifications. To use this tool, let me just create a simple blueprint class, actor. Not going to worry about naming it right now. And just inside our event graph, I'm just going to put down a single node. I'm just going to put print in for now. Leave it as hello, that's fine. So now we've got the little plus symbol, let's submit the content. So we can now check it out. So we right click, go revision control, go check out to protect from the other users editing it. We're going to change what it says to hello world. Press compile and save. Then we go back and we can see there's a little tick to say that it's ready to go. So we're going to go revision control and press check in. We said updated text. And now we've moved up to the next revision and we can now compare it. So let's go to revision control and we are going to look at the history. And in the history you can see here is where I created it and here's where I updated the text. If I right click on this one then, I can go diff against the workspace and you'll notice in the event graph it's going to show highlighted exactly what changed. This works with nodes as well, which is really handy. So it allows us to see when you've changed a node structure or anything like that. It also has a handy feature where you can right click in here and press copy. So if you've got this open and you're wanting to modify this original blueprint and put something back in from the old copy, then you can do so just by copying here and pasting over here. So it's a really nice, simple system to allow you to compare side by side. Just taking you through the interface a little more then, you've got a lock which allows you to break whether these are connected to each other. To navigate around, just hold down your right click and it'll allow you to move independently. As soon as you press the lock button, it will snap back and now you can move them together, which is really nice when you've got a complicated graph. Sometimes you want to look at nodes side by side, so if you press vertical horizontal, it will change the split and it will allow you to view it a bit nicer that way. It doesn't just affect the nodes as well, you've got all of your defaults and variable settings as well, all up here at the same time. And the nice thing as well is that you have these little previous and next buttons which allow you to flick through the various different edits. So the diff tool is really powerful, and as well as the file history which shows exactly who edited it and when. So that covers the basics of tooling for SVN inside Unreal Engine. So hopefully you found that a useful introduction to how to use revision control inside Unreal Engine and how to set up Subversion the right way. If you've got any questions about this, then I'd highly recommend going and looking at the Unreal documentation, which I've linked above, and of course hitting the forums. So happy developing and good luck with source control.